In the earliest hour of one Sunday morning, in a little village called Bagwaza, a set of triplets were born, two beautiful girls and a boy, born into the family of Papa and Mama Sushate. Their father was a successful jeweler that traded far and wide. He named the newborn triplets Vena, Shana, and Keana. As the triplets grew up, there was a great physical difference between them, despite the fact that they were fed the same meal at the same time. Yet, the triplets named Shana looked too thin, skinny, and tall, while Vena and Kenena looked curvy and fleshy. As they grew older, Shana became the object of mockery and ridicule for everyone in the village because of her figure. They call her horrible names like skeleton, kuheshu, which means thin fish. She would often cry back home, where her parents always do their best to pacify her. Even her other siblings would also give her words of encouragement. No one wanted to be Shana's friend. Most social groups in the village rejected her. The few groups that accepted her used every chance they got to humiliate and laugh at her until she got tired and fed up and stopped attending their meetings. While Vena and Kenena, on the other hand, had so many friends and were members of various social groups in the village. The only thing that kept Shana sane in all of this madness was her cooking skills. She was a really excellent cook to the extent that whenever she prepares food for her family, everyone ends up licking their plates and praising her for the delicious meal. Her home was really the safe haven for her, but whenever she steps out of the house, the wolves in form of villagers are always there to ridicule her for being skinny, especially whenever she and her sister go to the market. People start to compare, whisper and gossip and stare at her. One afternoon, the two headed to the market to get some food ingredients. Vienna, why did you suck Shiana's blood? A fish seller said this while giggling hard, and everyone in the market joined in laughing. Watch out for the strong wind tomorrow, Shiana, so you don't lose your balance, another person added. Shiana was so sad and dejected. She couldn't even utter a word. You should all be ashamed of yourselves. Vena fired back angrily at them. Most of you have children, and if you don't, it must be because you are too bitter to have one. But I am sure you have siblings, yet you behave like fools. Shiana was so happy with her sister who had her back. Vena would always stand up for Shiana against these mean bullies until one day Vena's boyfriend named Ta came visiting. Ta is the son of a famous yam farmer, and he has been in love relationship with Vena for the past 2 years. He came to inform her that they won't be getting married anymore because his family are not in support of their union. Why? Am I not good enough for you? Vena asked him in tears. You know you are perfect, but my parents fear that your sister's skinny gene might manifest in our children if we get married. Vena could not believe her ears. Her world came crashing down and she began to resent her sister. She was still crying herself to sleep every night when she was also sent out of all her social groups because people didn't like how she stood up for her skinny sister. Veena blamed all these woes and misfortunes on her sister Shiana and decided she was going to make her life miserable. One day, Shiana cooked a delicious meal for the house, like she always did. But Veena came into the kitchen and poured sand into the pot of food her sister just made. Shiana looked confused. "Why did you do that?" she screamed. "Shut your mouth, skinny witch!" Veena fired back. The following day, Shiana fetched a bucket of water and left it in the bathroom to go into the room and get herself changed before having a bath. Veena sneaked into the bathroom and poured something into her sister's bathing water. Unknowingly to Shiana, she returned and took her bath with the contaminated water. She started to itch all over. She scratched herself so bad and screamed loudly. Her parents had to rub her body with palm oil before the itching reduced. Veena was laughing all through, which made Shiana realize her sister had done this to her, unlike before when she stood up for her sister in public. Now, whenever they go to the market, Veena would loudly call Shiana a skinny skeleton in the presence of everyone to make them see and hear. She is done standing up for her sister. This made Shiana so sad and she cried day and night. Their parents would scold Veena and warn her to desist from humiliating Shiana. "She is your only sister, for crying out loud. I did not raise you to be this way," their mother would say. But still, Veena felt no remorse and refused to listen. "Shiana destroyed my life. The love of my life, Ta, left me because of this thin, sick girl," Veena shouted. Their mother, who couldn't believe what she just said, got so angry and slapped her hard on the cheek. It was worse, mockery and humiliation every day for Shiana, from her sister and the entire village. But there came a time the triplet village, known as Bagwaza village, and two other neighboring villages, known as Badede and Bawa, were preparing for a once-in-a-decade contest called the Queen Maiden Competition. For this competition, each kingdom was supposed to put out three of their most capable, competitive, and all-round beautiful maidens out to represent the kingdom. The villagers in Bagwaza started projecting the names of the three maidens they liked or think would represent their village in the Queen's Maiden competition. Some even jokingly mentioned Shiana's name, and they all laughed mockingly. One of them added, "Who will put a skeleton forward to represent you humans?" And they all laughed again. One of the other villages would be hosting this year's competition because Bagwaza hosted the last one. Shiana went to fetch water at the village stream one afternoon when she met a man called Azua. Azua is one of the organizers of the Queen's Maiden competition from the neighboring village hosting this year's contest. But Shiana didn't know this. Immediately he saw Shiana, he was so thrilled and amazed by her stature. "What beauty is this?" he said to Shiana. "You are blessed with a lovely figure that many people would kill for." Azua added. Shiana looked so confused hearing these words. She felt he was just being sarcastic. But Azwa was looking really thrilled, and he told her he was in their village to get the names of the three maidens that will represent them in the upcoming competition. I am sure your name would be on that list because you look fit for the competition, Azwa said confidently. But Shiana told him that that was not going to happen because everyone hated her in the village and wouldn't even think of recommending her for such competition. She also said, aside her parents, he was the first person to ever think of her stature as good. Everyone else called her skeleton and other bad names. Azwa was shocked to hear this and persuaded her to dress well and make sure to come watch the competition, even if she wasn't going to partake. Shana hesitated at first, but later agreed to show up. On the day of the competition, the other two villages, Bagwaza and Bawa, traveled down to the palace of the host village, Badede, where the competition would take place. The triplets and their parents were also present, all looking radiant and elegant after the three girls representing each village in the competition were called out. The organizers announced that there would be an additional contestant sponsored by the host king himself. One of the privileges the host king enjoys in the Queen's Maiden competition is the power to add one more maiden as one of the contestants. Everyone was eager to know the lucky maiden that will be joining the other nine contestants. The organizer then called out the name of Shiana as the chosen contestant, sponsored by the king to join the other maidens. She was so shocked. Her fellow villagers were also confused, shocked, and jealous of this. Even Veina, her sister, was so angry about this. What will a drumstick be useful for in this contest? Veina mumbled to herself, but all of them couldn't do anything to stop it. Shana's parents and her brother were very happy for their girl and started clapping hard, cheering her on. Shana, who is still in shock, hesitated to step out at first, but her brother and parents kept clapping and this boosted her confidence. She stepped out looking so tall and elegant. She had dressed so elegantly and with grace as well. As she joined the other nine maidens, the competition began, and the first stage was the cooking contest. The competing maidens were all tasked with cooking traditional dishes. Shana, who already had superb culinary skills, finished preparing a meal quickly. It was like a walk in the park for her. The judges tested the meals cooked by the 10 maidens and announced the 5 maidens who did so well and would be proceeding to the next stage of the competition. It was no surprise to hear Shiana as one of the 5 victors. After all, she is a good cook who made delicious meals already for her family before the contest. The second stage was about finding a treasure that was hidden in the forest, and the first maiden to return with the hidden treasure would be crowned the queen maiden of the 3 villages. But there was a clause. The 5 maidens had to swim across a river to get to the forest where the treasure was hidden. Many of the maidens couldn't swim fast enough, but Shana could swim a lot faster because She was fit and therefore had light weight. She was the fastest swimmer. She got into the forest and started searching all over for the treasure. She searched, and 15 minutes in, she was still searching. Another maiden named Guna finished swimming and proceeded to the forest. She saw Shana and also started searching for the treasure. Few minutes later, Shana looked at a direction in the bush and saw a red shining treasure. That must be it, she screamed, forgetting it was a competition. The other maiden heard this and rushed over to the treasure direction. It turned into a running competition. Now, Shana had to catch up. Both of them ran, but unfortunately for Shana, her cloth was hooked by a tree branch. She fell to the ground, and Guna got to the treasure before her. But something unexpectedly happened. Shana, still on the floor, saw a lot of other red treasures in the bushes. They looked just like the first one she saw, and this made something click in Shana's head. These red treasures were a bunch of distraction from the real treasure they had come to find. Shana stood up and wanted to tell Guna, the other maiden, but she learned from her previous mistake and decided to keep this discovery to herself. Guna, on the other hand, rushed back to the river bank with the fake treasure and told the three other maidens that she had found the treasure. They believed her and felt they already lost the competition. So, together, they swim back to the kingdom. Shana, still searching the forest, felt water dripping on her from above. She looked up and saw a golden box on a tree. It sparkled so much, and this convinced Shana it was the real treasure they were looking for. Because of her tall figure, she climbed the tree easily and carried the golden box. She opened it and saw several other colors of those red treasures she saw in the bushes. She closed the box and journeyed back to the palace. Shana got to the palace and every single eye was on her. She looked so tired carrying the big box of treasure. Immediately she got to the rest of the contestants, including Guna, who was looking at her with so much envy. The organizers unveiled the drawing of the treasure the maiden was supposed to return with, and to Shana's fellow villagers' surprise, Shana came back with the exact treasure. She was declared the winner, crowned, and named the Queen's Maiden of the three villages. She was also given a lot of treasures such as gold, clothes, and a house of her choice. The villagers were shocked but had to hide it. They all started showing Shiana fake affection and apologizing for how they treated her. Her brother and parents were overjoyed, and Veina, her sister, felt so ashamed and didn't know what to say to her. And when they returned home, remembering how much she humiliated her sister, she decided to pack her things out of the house because she was so ashamed of herself. But Shiana stopped her. "Why would you leave your family?" As Shiana asked, Vienna started crying. "I am so sorry for how I treated you, Shiana. You are my sister, but I treated you like an animal. I prefer to please outsiders than my own flesh and blood. Let me just leave. This shame is too much for me to bear." Vienna cried out loud. "Vienna, I can never hate you. We came to this world through our mother's womb on the same day. I love you no matter what, Vienna, and I forgive you." The sisters hugged each other and lived happily ever after. The beauty here is that when life throws you lemon, make lemonade out of it.